What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one will break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about what's dropping for tomorrow. It's going to be very significant, what you should be watching for with all this data dropping. Before breaking things down about all this information, before I talk about what's happening for tomorrow, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so looking at SPY, we had a very, very interesting day so far. Looking at this, we made a very nice move in the upside direction. Just to start us off, we saw SPY pump all the way up to this like 448.5 area. Then it rejected and started to come down. This was very stubborn for the first couple of tests before it finally broke above it. But then notice that on the 5-minute time frame, you're going to be watching this. Keep the extended hours on. You're going to be watching the 50 EMA as our support for the day. This is what's holding up SPY quite nicely. And you can see it's kind of ping-ponging off this level many, many times. Then as this thing's been pumping, we're currently pumping right now. We have this resistance zone between this like 448.7, it's about 449 zone. This entire zone is acting as resistance. And you can see SPY has struggled to actually break above this so far. But one of the things I warned you guys about in the morning was if we broke above 448, we're going to be expecting a push, and that is what happened for today. We got a nice push up. I was hoping we get closer to like 450 maybe by like tomorrow, hopefully, but not a guarantee now if we look at what's going to be dropping. Now for Tesla, it's starting to show some life, getting some more volume than usual. Apple's holding up pretty decently so far, and overall the market's looking quite decent. But now I want to break down something else that's important. If you guys are holding options, if you're trying to trade them, that's great. That's awesome. And want the best for everyone. But please be well aware that there's going to be a risk holding overnight because for Friday, before the market opens, we have the big bank earnings. All right. So we have JP Morgan Chase, we have Citigroup, we have Wells Fargo, and we have BlackRock all reporting earnings tomorrow before the market opens. It's not just going to be about how they do, but how they project to be doing when they give their guidance and their projections for the next upcoming year and the next couple of quarters. That's going to be very important as well. So watch for this before the market opens. It's going to be very significant. We have to be prepared for this. It's going to be very, very important. Now, looking at Delta and Progressive so far, and a couple of other ones, like we had Pepsi as well, they basically did relatively well, better than expected, and Delta actually has strong guidance for the next year. So far, things are looking pretty decent for earnings. We will see how the banks do. Let's hope they do well. If they do well, they could send the market up a lot higher. If not, the market could gap down. Now, am I promising that? No. I'm just saying it's a possibility. It's a risk. So if you're holding options, right? Let's just say you have SPY calls. Now SPY is getting above 449, looking strong. But if you have SPY calls, for instance, right? Maybe you're going to make a lot of money. Is it smart to hold it overnight? That is your choice. Okay, it's your risk. If you want to do that, if you have options that expire tomorrow, it's your risk. If they expire in a few weeks, that's your risk as well. But remember, when we close, this is going to be your last chance. If we do truly pump to these high levels, this will be your last chance to take profits unless you want to hold overnight for the bank earnings. And the bank earnings could cause a gap down. They could cause the market to pump more. We'll have to wait and see. It's risky. I personally am going to be securing most profits on options. But just to be safe, do whatever you guys want to do. All right, so now SPY is testing 449, trying to break out. If it manages to break this, that would be a pretty decent sign. If we do continue to break out, like I said before, we could get close to this like 449.5 area. But just to be safe, let's just be patient with it. Still looking quite nice. For Tesla, if you look at Tesla, this thing actually broke to about 276 so far. Historically, we have more significant resistance around 277. It is still trying to hold up. It's trying to show some life. We're getting a lot more buyers again, and Tesla's once again looking quite decent. Now, looking at the trend on Tesla, I told you guys that this thing has low volume still. It is starting to improve as of today. But I'm trying to tell you that by the time we get to next week, that's when we're really going to see the buying pressure and the real volume come back to Tesla. As the market's pumping, Tesla does not like to be standing behind. Tesla likes to catch up. And that's what Tesla's starting to do. Now, for Tesla, what I think is going to happen is this. I don't know about tomorrow. Okay, market could be choppy, market could slow down, market could pump more. Whatever happens, I don't really care too much about that. I think the bigger move for Tesla is going to be next week when we approach earnings. Earnings is going to be on Wednesday of next week, okay? Less than a week from now. I think Tesla's going to get a lot of volatility, lots of volume, and Tesla's going to pump pretty hard as we approach earnings. I think it's going to break at least to the 280s or higher. 285 could be a good target. I think it's going to try to keep going, looking quite nice. So when watching Tesla, I'm not too worried about tomorrow. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, if it does dip, that's going to be a good buying opportunity. But I'm going to be trying to play this trade that's going to be set for next week. It's going to be very, very nice. That's what I believe is going to happen. And I think there's a lot of potential for it. For now, watch support around this 275 zone. If it breaks below that, watch 273.94, 273.33, then 272. It doesn't look like it wants to come down to these levels, but just to be safe, if it breaks 276, it's going to be well on its way up to about 277 to 277.68. And has some free room to keep going. There isn't really like significant historical resistance until we get to the 277s, since we are above 275 right now. So that's a good sign for Tesla, showing some strength, and it still looks like it wants to keep going. It does not look like it's done for the day just yet. We had lots of small cap runners as well. Apple's holding up nicely. We're going to be watching this 191 target on Apple. If it breaks down, watch 190.26. It's kind of tight, but it's still holding up quite decently. For the triple Q, I told you if we broke this zone right here, 375, we're going to be watching this thing make its way up to about 377.5, and then we could go all the way up to about 380 if we keep going. 380 is right here. For some reason, the trend line got deleted. 380 would be right here, more significant resistance. We're getting closer to it. Could we pump more to get there because of the banks? Could we fail to do so? We'll just have to wait and see. We're trying to get above 378.5. If it breaks it, we could be slowly uptrending to get closer to it, and we will see by tomorrow how it goes. Now for Nvidia, we got this rejection, right? We got this rejection in the morning, came down all the way back down to our target of 444. It could have dropped lower, but it actually ended up rebounding. And now that it broke 450, that's a bullish signal. You can see right here, it's getting above our resistance right here at 452.5, and breaks down 455 could come. I thought Nvidia might slow down a bit after, hitting this 450 resistance. It did slow down temporarily, but ended up rebounding and actually broke above it. So that's another very bullish signal. Could be watching 455 plus very soon, depending on how things go for tomorrow. Microsoft is holding up nicely, and then Meta was very interesting. Meta had a bearish divergence, got a big drop. Just as I was calling, I told you guys we might get a drop. However, I didn't expect it to bounce like this crazy hard the same day. That was pretty wild price action. So I got this big drop on Meta. We were expecting this to happen. If you watched my earlier video, I told you we could see Meta come all the way down to this zone right here. Very, very low, 310s to 309. Right? And then we got a bounce, but I would have anticipated it to be a little bit weaker than this. Instead, a lot of buyers are still stepping in, and this thing is still looking strong. So if Meta breaks 316.23 tomorrow, especially, if Meta keeps breaking out, if the market is still bullish, this thing is going to fly for 320 and start filling the gap it left. It's very likely it's going to do that soon. So watch Meta carefully. We could be breaking out for 320 in the future. But we got the drop we were looking for. This was a very, very good short. It was very, very nice. It actually took a couple of hours to play out before it got a nice bounce. All right, so that's worth mentioning. With that said, thank you all so much for listening. Market is still looking quite decent, but I'll see you guys in the next one for another update video. All right, thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget, we have big bank earnings coming out for tomorrow before the market opens. So do what you have to do, secure profits if you want, or you could even hold a couple of positions. It's up to you. I just want to warn you guys about that. All right, have a good one, everyone. Tesla in the market, SPY and etc. to the moon, as the long term is very bright. And peace out.